Okay everyone, this is the iPad review of the National Geographic World Atlas 2.0 app. Go ahead and launch it. The first thing I want to comment is actually a positive improvement for this version, where it actually opens to the place that you last closed. So if I go ahead and zoom up to the United States, close it, and launch it again, it'll pull up right in that area. So the big bell and whistle that came from this new version is this virtual globe, 3D globe. And I'm actually not a big fan of it. I don't think the graphics are particularly nice. It's not very responsive. Zoom around here. It's not a one-to-one change. As you can see, if I push just a little bit, it moves a lot. Also, when you have a globe like this, you'd like to spin it, and the spinning mechanics aren't very intuitive, so I'm really not a fan. And then as I go ahead and zoom in, this is the other pet peeve, and this is the biggest complaint from the previous version that was not fixed, is that you have no control as a user of when it switches versions of the map. And eventually I zoom into Chicago here, it defaults to a road map, which just really isn't all that interesting. I'd much rather get my road maps from someone aside from National Geographic. The other issue that I have with this version 2.0 is consistency. I'll go ahead and wait for it to load, switch back to the classic map. So let's look at Africa. You notice a couple gray spots. One that I actually wrote a few posts about is Southern Sudan, which is actually shown as a special area. So it's in gray, Southern Sudan. Another place I've written a little bit about is Somaliland, not shown as a special area. Every time I've asked National Geographic about this, they give me the same spiel about how, well, it depends on the size and scale, and if we can fit it in, we'll do it. That just doesn't make sense. I pointed out that that's not what they did with Kosovo, and that's not what they did here. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on Somaliland. And when we get to the largest edition, Somaliland is shown in gray. But when we look over here in Sudan, when Southern Sudan is shown as a special area, Somaliland is not. And then when we zoom in even further to there is no Southern Sudan because they didn't bother to update this map yet. It doesn't make any sense why they didn't do this. It's been months since the referendum, and they still haven't done it with this map. Also, if you double click on a map or a country, it doesn't bring you to the center of it or anything, so you still have to... Oh, and there we just had a crash, of course. That doesn't bode well. Okay. So if we double click on Libya, it takes us there. And we'll click and hold. And this is one of the nice features. It actually brings up Libya, the flag, lots of information on the country itself, which is pretty nice. But what they do at this particular zoom is just draw a polygon around the country, and instead of actually pulling out the actual features. And so Athens right here is actually shown grayed out because it's not within the lines of the polygon of the country. It just really seems like a lazily put together map. So it's still a great resource. There's lots of good information on it, and it's still National Geographic maps, which are just always great to look at. But there's a lot of improvement that they could do, and I hope when version 3.0 finally comes out that they adjust this auto scale, and so we can actually zoom in a little more detail with the maps and not switch to these dumb road maps.